ביאור משנה ה'. Explanation for משנה ה'. משנתנו היא המשך המשנה הקודמת. This is good. Let me see if this is the one. Let's read it. This is a nice one because it connects to Shabbos that we did before. We're going to see. I'm going to ask you the question. So be ready for the question. Moshe. ביאור משנה ה'. The explanation for משנה ה'. משנתנו היא המשך המשנה הקודמת. This Mishnah is a continuation of the previous Mishnah. והיא באה ללמד, it comes to teach us, שבבית המקדש היו עושים סימן בערב פסח. That in the temple they used to have a sign ערב פסח. On the 14th, in the temple they did differently than the Mishnah we just learned. עד איזו שעה מותר לאכול חמץ, ומתי חייבים מביאורו? Until what time in the temple you are allowed to eat חמץ? And when do you need to burn it? Now in the temple was much more complicated because the Kohanim used to eat the chametz. The bread offerings, the Kohanim used to eat it. Yeah. No, lechem hapanim is another problem. We leave it to that. But I'm talking about there's a thing that the Kohanim eat. All the sacrifices. So some of the sacrifices, korban todah. Korban todah, it's ma'afeh. Yeah. So they have to eat it. So it says we will learn what's going on with that. So that's what he did. Vod Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yehuda still says, continues in his analogy of how it was done in the 14th in the temple. Shtei chalot shel todah. So it says there were two breads of todah, milachmei todah shel chametz, that they were chametz, psulot. The bread has to be pasul, not befitting. שנפסלו מלאכול, that they're not allowed to be eaten. כמו שנבאר להלן, like we're going to explain later on, I think maybe it's the next Mishnah that's going to explain why are these not allowed to be eaten, but it doesn't matter, because if they have to be eaten, the Kohen has to eat them. These ones are not allowed to be eaten, but it's still there. מונחות על גג האצטבה. There used to be a shelf, and they used to put these two breads on the shelf, that everybody can see them. שהיה בהר הבית, that was on the Temple Mount. הצטבה אכסדרה של עמודים, כדי שהעם יראו אותם לסימן. There was like pillars that everybody could see it, to make sure that everybody sees it. כל זמן שמונחות שתי החלות על הגג, so as long as these two breads are, you can see them on the pillars, כל העם אוכלים חמץ. Everybody that's in the בית המקדש is allowed to eat חמץ. נטלה אחת, they're going to take one away. In other words, the Kohen comes and takes one away. שבתחילת שעה חמישית, he takes it when, even according, he takes it not in the 4th hour. Look, this is the temple. Rabbi Yehuda says, at the Medina, at the 4th hour, over here, it says, when does he take it? On the 5th hour, שעה חמישית, on the 5th hour, היה בא שליח בית דין ונוטל אחת. He used to take one and take it. תולין מספק, then for that hour you don't do anything. לא אוכלים ולא שורפים. You didn't eat and you didn't burn. את החמץ. נטלו שתיהם, but then the next hour he takes both of them out. היינו בתחילת שעה השישית, which means 11 o'clock. He takes the second one. He takes the second one out. התחילו כל העם שורפים. Then all the nation becomes to burning. That's right. את החמץ וגומרים ביאור החמץ תוך השעה השישית. And they have to finish ביאור חמץ inside that hour. Between 11 and 12, they have to finish. Now comes the question, how come, even according to Rabbi Yehuda, you didn't do it like before?
This is Beit HaMikdash.
Oh, so therefore, we learned it before, you remember? Because Gzeras de Rabbanan don't work in Beit HaMikdash. So you don't do the hour in between. We already learned that. You remember that? We said.
So that's why it's Bashar HaChamishit.
That's why it's in the 5th hour. Because there's no Rabbanan in the temple. Yeah. That's what it says.
Where did they bring the challah from? It's just the challah.
Oh, he's going to explain now.
Bring a toda and then...
בעניין החלות של תודה, when it comes to these breads of תודה, מבואר בגמרא, the Gemara explains where is it from. שכל מי שהיה צריך להביא קורבן תודה, it says, a thank offering, everybody that had a son, had a bar mitzvah, had a good business deal, used to bring a thank you offering to God. Hayam Avio, it says, they didn't take thank you offerings of bread on the 14th. It says, we're not going to take on the 14th.
We're not, this day,
we don't take bread on the 14th. Why? Because there's going to be bread over. You bringing bread in the 14th? What are you going to do with it? You crazy? We're not taking bread. So everybody that came to the holiday, when did they bring the breads? On the 13th. What happened when everybody brings the bread on the 13th? The Kohanim can't eat so much bread. Because usually it's spread out. The Kohanim, all the bread comes in, and the Kohanim have to eat all the sacrifices. So how are we going to eat all the breads now? All the Jews come from all over Israel to Rabbi to bring the Korban Pesach, and we're supposed in one day to eat bread for all the Jews in Israel? We can't. It's impossible. So what happened? And the 14th they didn't take, so everybody brings all the breads on the 13th. Because every time you bring a thank you offering, you also have to bring 40 loaves. 30 עשויות מצה ו10 חלות הן חמץ. 30 was used matzah, you could do it, but 10 was chametz. והתודה עם חלותיה נאכלות ליום ולילה. And the Kohanim have to eat it a day and a night. Yeah? They have time to eat it 24 hours. After 24 hours, it becomes pasul. ואילו היו מביאים את התודה ב-14, if they would bring the thank you offering in the 14th, לא היה חמץ שבה נאכל אלא עד 6 שעות. They wouldn't be able to eat it all until the 16th hour. ואין מביאים קודשים לבית הפסול. And therefore, in other words, you don't bring it, the kodesh, when you know it's not going to be eaten. כלומר, שאין מקריבים אותם ביום שיתמעט זמן אכילתם. So therefore, you have to have, you're not allowed to bring a korban if the Kohen doesn't have enough time to eat it. And over here, the Kohen doesn't have enough time to eat it, so don't bring the Todah offering. Only bring thank you offering on the 13th. They didn't do any sacrifices of thank you on the 14th, because they don't have the time to eat the bread. שאם עושים כן הרי גורמים לבוא לידי נותר, because you're going to cause the sacrifice not to be eaten, and that's not permissible. הילקח כוח מי שהיה לו להקריב תודה, היה מקריבה ב-13 בניסן. So therefore, all the sacrifices, all the bulls, all the sheep that you wanted to thank God with, that something good happened, you had a son, you had a daughter, whatever it is, you got married, you got a business deal, you give a thank you offering to God. With the offering, they also have to bring chametz and matzah. The problem is the chametz, not the matzah, and you can't even have to eat it, and they have 24 hours to eat it. So,
both of them is a problem?
No, the chametz is not a problem. I mean, the matzah is not a problem, the chametz is the problem.
It's before Pesach. Why would it be a problem? If I take now matzah before Pesach?
Yeah, but this is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. It's something else. It's a good question. Maybe that's why we don't eat chametz the day before. It's possible. Maybe that's where it comes from. It's a good thing. Maybe even the matzah was not given at that time, because they were not allowed to eat it. Like we don't eat matzah the day before Pesach. Maybe it's from there. Very good. אבל מתוך שהיו חלות מרובות, but on the 13th now, everybody's bringing the sacrifice on the 13th. There's too many breads. לא היו הכהנים מספיקים לאוכלן. The Kohanim didn't have enough time to eat them. So whatever was remained and they didn't eat, in other words, those that they need to eat, they have to try to eat them. But those that they don't have time to eat, those are the two that they put there.
Only two.
That's right.
They had a lot of
They had much more than two. Yeah. והיו קצתן נפסלות משום נותר. And since there was so many thank you offering on the 13th, some of the breads used to be anyway not eaten. ומהחלות הפסולות הללו היו מניחים 2 על גג האצטבר ב-14 בניסן. From these חלות that they couldn't eat enough, that's the 2 חלס that they would put there. Because otherwise they're not allowed to eat, they have to eat it. אבל אילו היו כשרות, לא היו מניחים אותם שם כדי לפסלן בידיים. And
there is a problem.
What's the problem?
How did they are nifsalot?
Oh, so there's many ways that a thing can be nifsal. Nifsal, we're going to learn these rules in the next one. Yeah.
As you said, if they wouldn't be nifsalot, they wouldn't put them there.
Yeah. So we're going to learn the rules of nifsal soon. I don't know actually. So yeah, I think maybe in the next one or the 2 other ones afterwards. Okay. So the idea is like this. There's many, when talking about purity and impurity, there's going to be many levels. Yeah, to purity and impurity. And it's pretty much impossible to in all those levels of purity and impurity to keep yourself completely, completely holy. Which most probably somebody touched a person who touched a food, who touched a vessel that was impure. Even though it's not such severe impurity, you can still do it, but once the Kohen touched this challah with such a hands, it will make it impure. And those you're going to put over there. We're going to see the whole details later on. Rabban Gamliel Omer, so this is according to Rabbi Yehuda, up to here. Rabban Gamliel Omer, cholim nechalim kol arba. It say, the chulin, you eat the entire 4. What does it mean, chulin? Chulin means the bread you have at home, non-holy bread. Regular bread. But over here, we're not talking about regular bread. What are we talking about? Holy bread. We don't make this thing on chulin. Ma'achalei chametz shel chulin, it says, food of chametz of regular bread, she'enam truma, that are not truma, they don't have holiness, ochlim be'erev Pesach ad 4 shaot. You eat erev Pesach until the 4th hour. But truma, he says, if you're a Kohen and you have truma in your house, you're allowed to eat it in the 5th hour, because truma is holy. So even if he disagrees with Rabbi Yehuda says no. During this 1 hour, even truma you may not eat. He says no, since it's holy, I can eat it. It's higher than regular chulin. In other words, I have an obligation to consume it, to eat it. Vetruma kol 5, and truma all the 5th hour. אבל מחלי תרומה אוכלים גם בשעה החמישית, שאסור להפסיד תרומה בידיים, because what does it mean? It's a mitzvah to eat it. Yeah? There's no mitzvah to eat chametz on the 4th hour. This is a mitzvah. So what are you telling me? You tell me don't do my mitzvah? I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to you 1 hour, but not 2 hours, not to do my mitzvah. של תרומה, הואיל וחכמים מסרו את החמץ מאותה שעה, אפילו בהנאה. It says, since the חכמים forbid ושורפים בתחילת 6, but you burn in the beginning 6 hours. אף חמץ של תרומה, even חמץ of תרומה. Why? Because there the Chachamim comes in and tells you, even that we're so worried about. הואיל וחכמים מסרו את החמץ מאותה שעה אפילו בהנאה. Because the Chachamim prohibit חמץ, any חמץ, even תרומה from the 6th hour. But ein halacha ke Rabbi Gamliel, the halacha is not like Rabbi Gamliel, and we don't even eat truma on the 5th hour. So if you're a Kohen and you want to eat truma on the 5th hour, don't. Ela tolim kol 5 ben chulin ben betruma. We're going to consider chulin or truma the same, and you're not allowed to do it, to eat it. So we don't go like Rabban Gamliel.